Action.
Hi guys!
Hi guys! We're broadcasting straight from the southwest coast of Myanmar.
We're currently 4 months into our travels and we surely didn't expect that this is going to happen.
What?
That we're gonna travel for 4 months.
Aha! We are currently under self-isolation due to the you know what. For the past 4.5 months we've been traveling around South Asia, collecting a lot of memories, both good and bad. We thought we were gonna come back not because we are gonna want to come back, but because of an issue, some kind of problem. And actually this is the main topic of the video we're making right now, because
A lot of things went wrong. A lot of good and bad things happened. Even though we expected both of them, we were never really prepared for any of the issues we had for those months. Our life literally transformed into a roller coaster in which one day we would chill in a luxurious villa, the next day we would share the bed, the next day we would share the room with 10 other people, and on the very next day
we will end up on the street. The list of things that went wrong is now so big that we decided it's a good time to share it with you guys while it's still possible and bearable to sum up.
Here's the map showing all the places we visited so far, and here's where something went wrong.
Da 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 da! This is a paradox. One more thing went wrong.
Let's start with New Delhi.
We were just boarding on our flight in Dubai when we heard the news of New Delhi being the most polluted city in the world right now.
We were really worried because we heard that a lot of the flights were actually diverted, and we were afraid that we might not end up in New Delhi after all. We had to rethink our plans on the go, and we spent our first days locked in our host's apartment.
Soon afterwards, when the pollution settled, we finally got the chance to explore the city. And this is where our next problem occurred.
Apparently there was a big conflict in India between Muslim people and Hindu people.
This is my try to explain this to you guys 4.5 months ago. The argument is about a land in the city of Ayodhya, in the city of Ayodhya, between Hindus and Muslims. They demolished It didn't go very well. That's why we decided to skip it in our videos. But now I have the second chance to explain it. There was a very important verdict about this conflict, which was going on for more than 30 years, I think. The verdict was announced in favor of the Hindu people.
Много приятно за слушане се получи.
Okay.
As we were just leaving the apartment, our hostmate literally saved our lives, telling me to leave my scarf home because of its signs.
These are signs of Ram and Sita. And she was going to wear that the day that the 30-year argument of Kingdom of Ram was over and Ram won. So thanks to Yugendra, who warned us that it is not okay to wear this today and like say woohoo, Ram won. He probably saved our lives from some people today. Okay, thank you. Eventually we ended up staying 1 week in New Delhi before we took off to Nepal. After a 29-hour exhausting journey, we finally ended up in a remote area in the city of Pokhara, where we were about to meet our next couchsurfing host.
And there was no one in the house.
Yes, nobody opened the door.
Hello? Hello?
We were lucky enough that our taxi driver decided to wait for us for a couple of minutes to check. Otherwise, we'd had nowhere to sleep on our first night in Nepal. Eventually we found a hotel, and in the upcoming week we tried various activities in Pokhara.
Like the paragliding that almost made us throw up. And the 4-day trekking in the mountains.
On the third day of our trekking, Lexi got both of her knees injured, so it was almost unbearable for her to walk and finish the trek. 1 week later, we were already in the capital of Nepal, Kathmandu, where we had a bus to a very remote village. The bus was about to cost us 200 rupees overall.
Of course we missed it, so we had to pay 1,500 rupees to get to the village.
Last bus is 3:30 p.m.
3:30?
Oh, last bus.
Okay, we can catch it, right?
3:30.
Great. But if we are fast enough, I think we shouldn't have problems. We missed the last bus. After Kathmandu, finally we ended up in a city where we actually didn't face any kind of troubles. Chitwan!
Chitwan was okay.
Going back to India started rough again.
The bus that had to take us to Varanasi was missing a tire, so we had to wait approximately 2 hours for them to bring the tire.
While a drunk guy was trying to approach Lexi in a very inappropriate way.
Yeah, he was touching my hand, it was weird.
After Varanasi, the luck was on our side and we spent a wonderful time exploring Rajasthan, Jaipur, Kekri, Udaipur, Pushkar, even Mumbai without any major issues bothering us.
And this didn't last too long. Right when we stepped out of the train in Goa, Martin twisted his ankle.
That's me again.
This was particularly bad because we actually had tickets for a festival in a couple of days where we were supposed to dance and move.
No matter how interesting and fun time we had in Goa, this place actually brought us a lot of health troubles. First of all, it was the New Year's Eve when I started feeling down.
This was the first time that we had to go and see the doctor and use our insurance, which was not very easy also.
Fortunately, the things were not that bad, and with a couple of coconuts, I was absolutely fine on the 1st of January 2020.
It was also in Goa where I first experienced a heat stroke.
2 weeks later, we ended up in a marvelous place in Karnataka called Hampi.
This was the place where we were officially left without a tenant in Bulgaria.
This was our only income. He left the apartment in awful condition with drug leftovers on the table. After Hampi, we got back to Goa, this time in the south part, Vasco da Gama, where we were eagerly waiting for our friend from Bulgaria to come and visit us.
When our friend came, we started traveling around and we ended up in Gokarna, where we got scammed again.
Again! We paid 300 rupees to go on a night trek to the Paradise Beach and experience the magnificent beauty of the glowing plankton in the ocean.
If you don't know how planktons look,
yes, planktons are supposed to glow and shine and leave you with an unforgettable memory of how beautiful the nature is. Unfortunately, when we got to the beach, there was absolutely nothing in the sea.
nothing.
We're on the beach right now. We are waiting for the plankton to shine. Unfortunately, there is just darkness.
I feel scammed.
We heard our guides talking that plankton is only really visible in September. And it was January. I purposely refused to pay the full amount for the plankton trek, and I only paid for the transportation. So I told the guy who was collecting money to tell his boss to call me in the morning so I can explain him normally why I refused to pay.
He did call us in the morning.
I even didn't have a chance to explain because he started swearing me with such a rich dictionary of words. I feel really bad that we didn't record this because it was hilarious. Tourist, you refuse to pay. He also told us that he is sending people for us, and if we don't pay, we would have a lot of troubles. Eventually nobody came. After that we had a wonderful time in Kerala, just before we got to the final state of our Indian journey. Tamil Nadu, and more specifically to Chennai.
Like we usually do, we found the cheapest place on Booking, but we didn't expect what we saw in this place.
Happy Valentine's Day. Oh, look at that. Isn't this cozy? Our room didn't have a ceiling. Cats, birds, and mosquitoes were entering.
Like seriously, when we were sleeping, a cat came and was walking on the wall.
This was literally the worst booking experience of our lives. And unfortunately that was our last experience in India before we flew to beautiful Sri Lanka. Of course, we're not mentioning some small issues like ATM problems, flying cockroaches mating on my face problems, stolen shoes, broken scooters, and sleepless nights on the beach trying to spot a turtle with no success. We experienced quite a few problems in Sri Lanka.
Most of the time we spent there was really careless and enjoyable. We met a lot of wonderful people who soon became our friends.
Ilya! The normal, everyday issues we had couldn't ruin our good mood, like when Lexi lost her swimming shoes in the ocean, or when I got a sea urchin spine inside my foot while I was learning how to surf. Luckily, thanks to the locals and the magical plant that removes the spine instead of you and saves your life from blood poisoning, paralysis and respiratory failure, I was absolutely fine. Just when we were about to leave the country, extremely happy that we had barely any problems there,
we couldn't catch our flight. One of the worst things happened in Sri Lanka.
First of all, when we got to the airport, it turned out that our flight is actually from 10 past midnight, not from 1:20. That's kind of interesting, don't you think?
That's when things got even worse. When we went to the place to check in our luggage, we were told that we need to pay for it.
700 euros for 2 bags. When we showed them the email where it's written very clearly that each of the passengers have one piece of check-in baggage included, they told us that their flight company doesn't have anything to do with a third-party company that we booked the tickets from. It's 2 minutes past midnight. Our flight is after 8 minutes, and as you can see, we're not gonna catch it. Life is amazing right now. When we realized that we're not going to Myanmar, we started thinking of options where can we go and sleep for the night.
We messaged our previous host from Colombo, trying to reach out to him and ask him if he can host us for 1 or 2 days until we figure out things. He refused to host us due to the coronavirus, which left us
with our only option to search for a hotel at 2 a.m. in the morning. All of the hotels were asking for a absolutely unaffordable price for us. It was already 3 a.m. when we decided that we're just gonna spend the night on the street and try to find a hotel for a proper price in the morning after sunrise. So instead of going to Myanmar, we ended up homeless in Colombo. In the 3 upcoming days, we were switching around 3 different hotels, spent a lot of hours in the local tourist police station, and fortunately, with the kind help of the police officers, we managed to get free tickets to Myanmar just 3 days after we missed our first flight. On the 16th of March, we finally entered Myanmar. Okay, this is our room.
There's more place in the bathroom.
Wow. After spending 2 days in this mansion in Yangon, we decided that our self-isolation would be much more effective somewhere outside the big city. That's why we moved to the west coast of the country to a place called Ngwasang.
The number of UK deaths has been rising.
Stage 1 of a nationwide shutdown. So that means restaurants, clubs.
Any place that's unnecessary for people to gather has now been banned.
You may have already figured out what's the next problem we're facing right now.
Unfortunately, this time it's not only us, but the whole world that's dealing with it.
This is the coronavirus, and everything that went wrong so far seems now so small and insignificant.
No matter how hard we tried to underestimate this disease, now almost every single country is affected.
As travelers, we had to choose either to go back home as soon as possible or to choose a country where we might end up stuck very soon.
So we chose Myanmar, where we are currently self-isolating and waiting for this craziness to subside.
We can see that there's a lot of people in the travelers community who are still continuing their travels because there's still no regulations in some of the countries. We think now is a great time for all of us to show self-discipline, empathy, and understanding.
Let's give our full support to all the medicals around the world and try not to make their work even harder.
We believe everything happens for a reason, and humanity should take notes of this ongoing disaster.
Otherwise, all of it would have been in vain. Now it's the time to be humans.